on the things that you might be telling yourself to throw you off that feeling. And that is where I'm getting the criticism. And let me see what else I get on that, okay? Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
And I close my eyes and I pause just for anybody that hasn't seen me do this kind of coaching. I'm not using the cards. I'm tuning in. I'm hearing. I'm feeling. I'm using all my channels to get information for Dana. So I'm going to be quiet and put it all together and articulate it for her and everybody so we can kind of find out what's going on and help her with this. Okay. And I'm getting something around. I really am getting something around fourth grade. I use that analogy a lot. Do you have any memory of fourth grade around that age? Was that about 8 years old?
Oh, it's funny you say that because I've had different psychics tell me that something happened to you when you were 8.
Okay.
It changed you completely.
Okay. Well,
I don't know what it is, to be honest with you.
okay.
It's also the same time where I ended up having to need glasses. I've been told that that's when
Yeah.
your eyes all of a sudden need glasses. It's because you don't want to see something.
I was just getting that. Yeah, I needed glasses about 25. I was like the last one in my family because I was working on a computer for 8 hours a day, but maybe I didn't want to see what's going on. That's entirely possible at that point in my life. Okay, good, Dana. We're on to something here. Hang on. Let's see what else I can get on this for you. Okay. And again, remembering, we're going back. I'm being reminded that this is, sometimes working like this with me can be compared to 2 years of therapy in an hour. You know what I'm saying? So we're bringing things to light. We're simultaneously asking the hierarchy of light, particularly each particular archangel that I'm working with in each center, and we're asking for healing from this so that it's effortless. You understand? Doesn't have to just, once you really see what's going on, if you're willing to let go of it, you will see an improvement in your thinking and your ability to experience confidence more on an unwavering basis, you see? Okay, so let me get some more information for you. I'm trying to check the time, too, to see how we're doing on time. Okay. All right. Shaky Foundation Center. Well, it's funny. Another thing I'm picking up on is when you talked about the roof, and you talked about, what was it, the fan? And the words that you used were, you had a fear about what was happening around you. I didn't hear you say, I'm scared. I mean, I heard you say, I'm scared, I can't fix this, but I heard the bigger thing was a feeling of like an external collapse, and you just wouldn't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
So going back to 8 years old, because I kept like right off, I just felt like this confidence, and then, there's different phases developmentally, we're children up until a bit, age of reason doesn't begin, I guess, till about 15. So there's this way of being in the world around 8 years old, and with everything being perfect, we are supposed to, it's when things happen of a more traumatic nature, or we begin to experience the world from a point of view that was different from what we once thought, it's like our world gets shattered a little bit, you understand? It's like what we thought was true is suddenly not true, okay?
Yes.
But I keep getting with this foundation center, Dana, that if you go back to that point in time, and if you can see that, if you can remove the glasses, if you will, is how I'm seeing them. It's like if you remove the glasses and you begin to realize that you wouldn't even necessarily need to see the outside world to fix anything, because I feel like this is a deeper message to keep going within. I think that's why you're really interested in the Reiki healing, because it's an energy that comes through and works within.
Mm-hmm.
You following me?
Yeah.
So even if you got lost or scared, or and I can go into it more if you want, but I'm not sure it really matters what happened at 8, but I think we're pinpointed, between me and the other readings that you got, that there was something that, you were like, let me just see what I get on a little more on it. Hold on. You like animals?
Oh, I love animals.
Okay. All right. Horses?
I love horses.
Dogs?
Yeah, we have a horse. We grew up with a horse in our backyard, actually.
Okay, I'm seeing horses. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'm seeing the horse. I'm seeing the love of animals. I'm seeing this feeling of safety and confidence. That's what was coming to me. How was school that year? Do you remember? Your teacher, your friends?
Not so great.
Okay. That's
Teacher, she and I did not. We clashed.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
She had favorites, and I was definitely the least favorite.
Okay. Bingo. There's that confidence breaker part of it. Understand? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's you. Like, little Dana. You've got your horses, you've got your animals. That's where you feel safe. That's where you feel empowered. Correct?
That's true, yeah.
And so it's like you're a kid. You're a happy kid. You're playing. You've got your animals. You're happy. You're having, a childhood. It may not be perfect, but then this is an experience that I feel like stood out, and suddenly you were being shown something of yourself that you didn't really agree with, but because this person was in authority, it was like you had to listen. It made you question yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes, I just remember continually trying to make her to like me, and it never worked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Again, there's some different some of the spiritual laws are so wonderful because they really do help when you apply them. It's like one of them that Don Miguel Ruiz talks about in the 4 Agreements, which Oprah recommends, is never take anything personally. What's that?
Yeah, I have read the 4 Agreements, and they're excellent, but it is hard sometimes to keep on track.
It is, and I like the way. And you wouldn't know necessarily. It's like one of my passions and things I love to do is, be like a psychic detective, if you will, and dig in and find these things for you, Dana, so that you can go, well, no wonder. And then you can't apply this thing unless you really know what you're dealing with. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's great to hear that is probably what it was, because I was suspecting it might be something worse than that. The teacher that I had, even after I got out of her class, I would still go visit her and try to get her to like me.
Okay.
But it's funny, the class photo, I even have this class photo on Facebook, and I colored her head in green, and I put bolts on the side of her neck because... Oh,
my goodness. This is great. Dana, you see, now that we're looking at this, and we can laugh, but if what's running up subconsciously, we don't know it. I mean, I picked right up on, and it, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm picking up on, this is the initial thing that I'm getting for you that create a shaky foundation. Who wouldn't feel a shaky foundation if suddenly they're getting along wonderful, have their horse, have their animals, loving life, being a kid, and then there's this person in authority that you might think is pretty great, and you don't think they like you. I think that's pretty shaky at 8 years old. You'd be like, what's wrong with me? And once that sets in, forget it, right? You have to climb out of that one, right?
Yeah.
So something goes on with your roof, it's your shaky foundation that doesn't feel good enough. It affected you. You understand? But I
do. It was a rough year. I never put the two together, but it makes sense. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm going to go a step farther, and we're going to do some more healing work with this. And what I want to tell you and remind you of is when you don't take it, let's not take anything personally. That was one of the 4 agreements, right? Never take anything personally. Let me tune in a minute and see if I can help clear this some more for you. Pull the plug on it. Okay, hold on. Everything is perception. It reminded me there's different kind of perceptions that may be true and possible. Would you get me my water over there? Just imagine, Dana, you're 8 years old and you think what you think is happening in the situation. You think that this teacher doesn't like you, and that's understandable, okay? But I'm getting, what if it was something like, how some people are really hard on us because they think that if they're, too soft that we're going to slack off. Does that make sense? Sometimes our biggest critics are ones that secretly want us to win. Have you ever had a person like that in your life? That's like they're so hard on you, but then they'll be like, well, after like 10 years, well, I just thought that I thought you needed that from me so that you could really succeed. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That makes sense? Okay. It's like tough love. So I'm just saying, for more healing, if you can begin to, and after we talk today and you go through the week and you notice that, there's I could work with you obviously for an hour or more on this. But I want to give you some real good things to think about so it can really, create some value for you to understand that it was, give yourself a lot of credit, give yourself a lot of love, forgiveness, compassion, that, hey, everything is great. And who doesn't know what that feels like, to wonder why somebody doesn't like them? It's a painful experience. Moving forward, maybe this lady didn't like herself. Maybe you were reminded of her at her age. You see what I'm saying? These things that people project and blame onto us that we take on as our own is no longer necessary once we release it. It's like you give them back. Thank you for the gift. I've worn it for 30 years or 40 years or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And you can have it back. This is kind of how I'm seeing it presented to you.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and then you get to decide, do I even care whether anybody likes me? Is this whole thing, Dana, that you could really get some freedom from, you see? Mm-hmm. Because there was never anything wrong with you to begin with.
Right.
And there still isn't. And so rebuilding that foundation from within can start with feeling that you do know what you're doing. And even if somebody, your fourth grade teacher or anybody else says, Dana, you don't know what you're doing, you can look at them and say, thank you very much, I appreciate your opinion, or not. You see, that's already a stronger foundation than what you've probably experienced from that, seed, if you will, that got planted. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Helps a lot.
So good.
Putting things in perspective, yeah.
Great.
I had no idea it had bothered me as much as it does, but...
How does it feel now? Just go check my time.
It feels a lot better.
It feels a lot better. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a couple of minutes. I'm so glad this is just the beginning. We're going to work for several more weeks together at least, okay? So let me just see. So I'm going to, let me see if I got any other information for you. Yeah, that root chakra, the foundation well center, Dana, is really important in our younger years, especially because we are so vulnerable and feel so helpless as children. It's like you needed that teacher's approval, and it felt like that. I can really feel how you would feel that. And can you appreciate, because we were very dependent at that age, okay?
Well, I saw how much love she was giving out to the favorite people, and God, I wanted to be one of them,
Yeah.
I remember this distinctly. She
Well,
was so loving and caring to, I'd say, a handful of the kids. And I now that I'm speaking about it, I think I was trying so hard that she rejected it.
okay.
Maybe I was trying too hard. I don't know, but I wanted what she was giving out.
Okay.
And I was definitely not getting it. I was getting the complete opposite of it, and I kept trying. I spent the most of the year focusing on that, I think.
Gosh, that's really I can see how that would set you up. That was like a bar, and you probably had to keep feeling like you've had to jump from that level for a long time. Does that make sense? If anybody gives you a little, I'm not sure if I like Dana, that would create that feeling again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that, uproots our foundation center. So I'm going to ask, again, for the healing to for the healing to continue for you, so that the